Ukraine has said that 3 people were killed in Russian strikes on an apartment block, triggering a nationwide air alert and prompting neighbouring Poland to scramble military planes. Kharkiv Mayor Igor Terekov said that rescuers found the bodies of 3 people in the rubble of the residential building in the Kivivsky district of Kharkiv. According to reports, 10 people were wounded in the attack, including 2 boys aged 6 and 11 and a 17-year-old girl. Let's listen into what Igor Terekov had to say.
Хочу сказати, що було пряме влучання ракети в житловий будинок, 5-поверховий житловий будинок. Практично він вщент зруйнований. Зараз тривають пошуково-рятувальні роботи. Попередньо під завалами знаходяться 5 людей, але зараз туди добратися неможливо, бо йде дуже сильна пожежа. Крім цього, пошкоджений об'єкт критичної інфраструктури, поряд розташовані будинки пошкоджена школа, яка тут теж поряд розташована. Поки що на цей час остаточної інформації більше я не можу сказати.
Joining us again live, we have Shruti Dasgupta, who is a foreign affairs expert in New Delhi. Now, Shruti, of course, another story there of innocent lives lost in conflict. Are we seeing the attention now lessen between Ukraine and Russia with this new war between Iran, Israel, and the United States? And what do you see as possible factors that will interact between these two wars? Could Russia perhaps benefit from the lack of oil coming out of the Gulf, or will it be a net negative as they lose those weapons connections? The US has also asked Ukraine for support in shooting down missiles. So what other interconnections could we see between these two conflicts?
Well, the first conflict between Ukraine and Russia is in its 5th year, so they are now combat-ready modes. They have experience driving how to deal with this current warfare format. So both nations are very well equipped to guide any partner nation. Beyond that, isn't it funny that in Trump's war, Putin presents himself as a peacemaker and an influence, and in Putin's war, Trump presents himself as the peacemaker, and the both of them are happily bombing away at each other's enemies. The hostilities continue on both fronts. What are the intersection points? First is the weapons. I do believe, though they are trying to deny the reality of it, I do believe a large cache of armaments that were meant to help Ukraine are now being delivered to the Middle East, because there the conflict is wider, a larger number of partners are under attack, and USA remains to be the only committed force there, while France and UK are sitting on the fence, working as defensive partners rather than engaging in active combat. So there is going to soon be a moment where Ukraine might find itself grasping at straws, because the flow of arms and ammunition would probably be impacted. Zelensky has, of course, said that I would help any partner nation, and has decided to help the Middle Eastern nation deal with Shahed drones, but that just basically means that Zelensky is willing to supply his combat equipment that he uses extensively to fight the Shahed drones that come from across the Russian firing lines to help Iran. So there is not enough production capacity in Ukraine to support its own war and then go ahead and help the Middle Eastern nations. So at best, what he could do is sell the technology, but even that manufacturing will take time. So that is just plain rhetoric, hoping that if this war turns into a prolonged conflict with years and years into it, maybe his role would then become more important. Russia, of course, is having a lovely time laughing itself to the bank, because now Russian oil is in high demand. India has been pulled in to help stabilize global oil price rises, and Russian oil is no longer taboo, at least not for the next 30 days. So Russia is, of course, having a very hearty laugh at the Ukraine's attempt to try and control its energy-based economy. So it's a win-win situation for Putin because he now presents to the world himself as a mediator of peace. He's able to make money out of the oil, although he has risen prices, but it's still quite discounted, at least for India, according to the Brent oil price of crude. So he's still making a whole lot of profit. He's able to funnel the money into his own war against Ukraine, while Ukraine is only able to present its expertise on the table to fight Iran, which may not actually become, a plan of action, at least not immediately, since it cannot afford to divert its own arms supply that it generates itself towards its Middle Eastern partners. So expertise is the only thing Zelensky is offering right now. And so these point of conflicts are funny. It's going to be a mess to say the least. The peace talks have been postponed because UAE that was going to host it, its airspace is as of now restricted. So there is no sense of closure to that war. It is now going to go into another march. March offensives are often something that we've seen in this particular war. So we can look forward to more aggression across the firing lines from both nations while they continue to preach peace to the Middle East.
Okay. Shruti Dasgupta, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show again. Thank you so much for coming on. Now, moving on to our next story, my colleague and senior editor Uday Pratap Singh has spoken to Carice Witter, founder of Signal Group, about the current situation in Israel, the necessity of the strikes,